Okay, we grabbed everything there was to collect in this room in the last video, so now let's get to the exit of this blasted place once and for all. And speaking of the exit, remember that that square-shaped room with an item in it near the end of Iron Island? Well, there's a similar one near the exit of this place too, and the reason for that is because of an in-game event that involves the event Regigigas from Movie 11. If you get that Regigigas, which is level 100, if I recall, you can gain access, well, not you can gain access to those rooms because you already have access to them, but if you get that Regigigas, then it'll cause the three Reggies to appear in those square-shaped rooms. Registeals was all the way back on Iron Island, which is, remember when I said that room was only in Platinum? That's why this is a Platinum-only sub-event, by the way. And Regice appears in the room that we're going to visit right now. If there are no random battles in the way, but you saw the entrance to that room at the very top of the screen, so that's where Regice appears. And the Regirock, I think its cave is in the desert in the battle zone, if memory serves me correctly. So yeah, the rooms are there, but the Reggies aren't. To make the Reggies appear, you need that Movie 11 Regigigas, which obviously isn't available anymore unless you get someone to lend it to you. And by the way, this is the only way to get the Reggies in Generation 4 games. Otherwise, you're stuck importing from Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. And we're back outside in the Great White North. So I guess I'm going to wish you a happy, belated obligatory ice level day. And this place is the textbook definition of a mixed bag. And by the way, fun fact, the Ace Trainers here have different outfits from the Ace Trainers in the rest of the world, so just thought I'd point that out, even though it really doesn't change anything. I just think it's kind of cool that they thought of that, that's all. But yeah, this place is a mixed bag. The atmosphere is really nice and the music's great, but there are two major problems I have with this place. The first is this: permanent hail all the way to freaking Snow Point. And there are only two ways that you can work around this. First is to use an ice type, but all the ice types in this game are found only in this area. In Diamond and Pearl it was even worse because you had the choice between either Weavile or a Boma Snow, and that was it. In this game, however, they give you Glaceon, Mamoswine, Glalie, and Frostlass, but still, none of that stuff I'm planning on using in this LP, though I will be honest and say that I seriously considered Mamoswine for a team slot back when I was first brainstorming for a team in this LP. Anyway, the second way that you can bypass the permanent hail is by overriding it with Hippowdon's permanent sandstorm. But it's not a very good idea because seeing how it's a snowy area, we're going to be finding ice Pokemon up the ass here. And can you say hi? Super effective hits on Hippowdon, so no, not a very good idea. So that is where all that HP recovery stuff that I have on my Pokemon is gonna come in handy, whether it's Roost on Togekiss, Drain Punch on Lucario. That's going to come in real handy if my stay here is any longer than it needs to be. Perhaps I should maybe change into a more comfy outfit. Insert obvious yes you should joke here. And yeah, the second thing I hate about this place, well, you just saw it, is that, first of all, no bike at any point in this area. Second, depending on the snow's depth, there are places where you can't even run. And there are some places where it's so bad that you can't even walk. You go at half of your walking speed, and the walking speed in this game is already abhorrently slow. So, what the hell? This isn't fun. This is just freaking annoying. What's the point of doing this? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. And if you say it's to make the game more realistic, then keep in mind, this is the game where we can control dangerous creatures to do our biddings. Fire monkeys, electric zebras, fire monkeys, ghost chandeliers, fire monkeys, even deities you can control. So I'm sorry, but the argument for realism isn't a valid one at all. And okay, at least here's something to make me feel a little better. There's this lodge here that provides some healing. So now I know where to come back if I ever get in trouble. And the good news is that I don't have to backtrack all the way back to Celestic, then back here again. So I guess that's good news, and okay, now that I've done the main area of this route, I'm gonna go, you probably saw a whole bunch of bridges overlapping the main area. I'm gonna go on these bridges because there are items to grab, maybe trainers to fight as well, and there's a rock climb wall that leads to the highest area here. You can see, I think it was a black belt up there. We need rock climb to get to that area, so I'm sorry, but we can't do this just now yet. We need to defeat... Excuse me? I want to fight you. Thank you. Yeah, we need to beat the 7th gym before we're able to get up there. And on that note, random trivia for the day. Every time there's an ice gym in a Pokemon game, it's always the 7th gym. We already had the Price in Johto and Candice in Sinnoh, but now we're also going to have Bryson in Unova as well, so yeah. But to come back to what I was saying about the snow, I honestly don't know what they were going for with this, because it doesn't have any degree of challenge. It doesn't really influence the game in any way other than to annoy us. So they could have kept it out of the game and it wouldn't have mattered at all. Because as I said, realism just isn't a valid argument in a world like that of Pokemon. Now I don't know how it is in Black and White because I haven't played it yet. Come on, just one more month, we're almost there, folks! But at least I hope we're allowed to run in snow. Maybe not the bike, it would sort of make sense. Seriously, who bikes in snow? But at least allow us to run. That would already be a great improvement over the crap we're gonna have to deal with in the next few videos. And speaking of Black and White, there's a subject that I want to talk about since the game is going to come out in the non-Japanese world next month. A subject that might cause some confusion if you aren't properly warned, and it's the fact that they actually revamped the experience formula a bit in Generation 5. Now, I don't know why they did that. I don't think there was any real problem with the old experience system, because grinding at very high levels compared to your opponents was already sort of a pain in the ass anyway. So I really, honestly don't get the point, but hey, they did it, so I'm not the one who programs the game, who makes those decisions, so I guess we're just gonna have to deal with it. Anyway, okay, I'm just gonna check because, yeah, PP up. It always pays to check in those areas that look really suspicious. You can really find something good. But yeah, the way they changed the experience system is that, well, I'm not gonna mention the entire formula here. If you want to get more details, you can check it out on Bulba Garden. But basically, to give you an idea, you gain 40% more experience than you used to if your level is the same level as the opponent's level. And this bonus is going to be higher the lower your level is compared to the opponent, and it's also going to lower when your level is higher than the opponent, which is what happens most of the time in Pokemon. Anyway, the thing is that they increase the base experience a bit, and I'm not talking about the base experience that's programmed into the game. I'm talking about the part of the formula that was already there in the first 4 generations. They were a little more generous with that, but they added a factor at the end that makes you gain more experience the more you are disadvantaged in terms of levels, and less experience if you have an advantage in terms of levels. So ultimately, I think all it does is that it makes grinding to level 100 a lot more painful for really no apparent reason. It already took forever as it is, and on the other end of the spectrum, a level 1 Pokemon that got experience for beating a level 60 already had level ups of the wazoo, so it's not like it's going to change much. So, except, of course, when it comes to grinding to level 100, then it's going to be very slow. But I really don't know why they did that, because the old formula was already working fairly well. You know, this whole exponential progression in terms of experience points required to get a level up, even though it's not as stark an exponential curve as, for example, Earthbound, which some of you may remember as a game where it took like in the single digits to gain your first few levels. But in total, you needed 10 million experience points to get to level 99. So it's not as sharp an increase as that, but it did the job pretty well. And why fix what's not broken? I really don't get it, but they must have assumed that there was a problem, because otherwise they wouldn't have bothered to make a new formula, and presumably they experimented with it in order to make sure it was reasonably balanced. And, extreme speed? No thanks. It's pretty cool in competitive play, but here, I just don't need it. I already got everything I need. I got pretty decent type coverage. I got HP recovery with Drain Punch, so, priority isn't that big of a deal, especially if you can't land super effectives with it. Even with 80 power, I'll admit that's pretty sexy, but I'm pretty happy with what I have. Anyway, we are done with Route 216 already, which sort of compensates for the sluggish pace of the last video. So I'm just going to head back to the lodge to heal myself, and after that we're going to head into Route 217, which is far more annoying than Route 216 for several reasons. The snow, there's a lot more snow, so progress by walking will be a lot slower, and you're gonna see we're gonna have to deal with a freaking blizzard of all things. Just to hinder the visibility even further, we can, we'll get Maylene first. Yeah, that's Maylene, and here's the blizzard now. And what's she doing here? I honestly don't remember, and have no problem with this. Well, fine with that. Go barefoot and lightly dressed. Well, I don't recommend that because... my point exactly. I'm not cold at all. Blah, blah, blah. Achoo! Achoo! No, I'm not cold. I'm fine. Achoo! Achoo! Oh, no. Okay, everything's okay. I'm not sick at all. Okay, whatever. Doesn't really matter. That was random, and I don't think it served any purpose at all, except I guess for establishing that Maylene is completely batshit crazy, because going in a blizzard, barefoot and lightly dressed, it's the barefoot part that gets me especially. It's not brave, it's just freaking stupid. But yeah, Route 217, there's the blizzard, there's the snow, and then there's the fact that it's much larger than Route 216 was, so that makes it harder to navigate, harder to remember where you've been, especially since there's that blizzard. Sort of reminds me of the Great Glacier in Final Fantasy VII, except the Great Glacier, admittedly, was a lot more complicated. If you ever looked at a map of the place, it's a complete freaking mess, whereas Route 217 has the merit of at least being sort of linear, even though it's several screens wide anyway. But I guess we'll just deal with that when we get there, because I don't think we have the time for any more trainers. I guess I'm just gonna check out if the weather clears up sometimes, but you're gonna be lucky to see it. So let's just check out. Oh, we got an item here, and it's a blue shard. So I guess we're going to end up on that. Next time, we're going to continue Route 217.